Call to order the Bedford Township Board meeting October 7th, 2025, 7 p.m. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Withrow, would you please lead us in prayer?
Consider it a privilege to be able to come down here and do this, and I always try to find a section of scripture that I hope will give everybody some encouragement and some food for thought from God's word. These words from Proverbs, and these are coram deo, before the face of God. This is a good name, is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. The rich and the poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all. The prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. The reward for humility and fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord God, we thank you for your word. So much direction, so much correction, so much encouragement, so much truth that we need in a world that seems to be struggling with what that means nowadays. So as this board comes together, and whatever it is that hits the docket tonight, and whatever comes from those who live in this community that needs to be brought forth, I pray, Lord God, that there would be good wisdom and ethical prudence in this board, in listening to the voices of those whom they serve. Ultimately, we all just serve you and answer to you. So we pray for good wisdom tonight, to your honor and to your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Next, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda for public comment time. 4 minutes for board agenda items only, and then 2 minutes for anything they want at the end of 9 comments from township board members. Well, no, before. However you want to do that in that structure. The normal structure that we had before, but 4 and 2.
Anybody? Is there a second?
I'll support.
We have support. Any discussion? Mr. Gore?
I'm fine with adding a minute on for right now because I know we're going to get to the discussion on unfinished business. And then I'll save my other comments for that time.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Hirschberger, please take the roll.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Janicek?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye. Motion passes. Presentations, I'm going to have Phil address some questions that we had between last meeting and this meeting to get some clarification. Phil?
Sure. Just to respond to some public comments that were made, emails that were received by the supervisor's office, there was a question or several questions regarding the board policy and amending the agenda, just like you did moments ago. And that involved the proclamation that was offered by Trustee Craig Montry. So the state law with respect to how a township board operates allows a township board to amend its agenda at the start of the meeting if a motion is made by one of the members and it's seconded and a roll call vote is taken, just as you did moments ago. That's what happened at the meeting when Trustee Montry wanted his proposed proclamation to be discussed and acted upon. Did that technically violate the board policy? Yes, it did. Did it violate township law? No, it didn't. There was a request by a member of our community or members of our community that the board should consider rescinding that motion to adopt the proclamation. I was asked whether or not the board needed to do that. My answer to that is no. The agenda was properly amended by a motion, a second, the voice vote. It carried, I think, unanimously to amend the agenda to include the proclamation. And so that vote is legal. It would be my advice not to rescind it. The Township Board, as I understand it, is looking at possibly amending the policies that were adopted by the board. Those are self-regulating policies. Many of them are very good. Some of them probably need to be looked at or do need to be looked at. So that's that issue that the supervisor asked me to address. There was another issue relative to may board members speak to one another about issues prior to a board meeting. The answer to that is yes. That's a provisional answer. What board members can't do, you cannot poll other board members by talking to one another or polling one another as to how you are going to vote on a particular issue at a meeting. That type of discussion is reserved for public meetings. Your discussion, your deliberation, and your vote need to take place in a public setting, in a public meeting. And so you can talk to each other, but you can't talk to each other and discuss with one another how you're going to vote or anything like that. That's off limits. Same thing with what's sometimes referred to as round robin. Same type of concept. You can't get on the phone and call each other and say, hey, how are you going to vote on this issue? And walk into a meeting with that predetermined. You cannot do that. Again, the discussion, the deliberation, and the vote have to take place here in a meeting open to the public. I was asked whether or not the board policy that was adopted several years ago supersedes or overrides the Open Meetings Act. The answer to that is no. The Open Meetings Act is the rule of law that governs the operation of public meetings, and the policy does not supersede the Open Meetings Act. Regarding public comment, you're going to talk about that tonight, and a policy that's been proposed, and discuss and deliberate and possibly take action on that. Just like you did tonight, public comment can be amended if the circumstances are such that perhaps the public needs more time to address an issue. We do that already at public hearings. That's a little different than a public meeting, but there are certain times when the board has a public hearing. Planning Commission has public hearings on zoning issues. The public oftentimes is allowed to speak longer at a public hearing than would ordinarily be allowed under any policy. So that can be changed from time to time as the circumstances dictate. Lastly, I was asked to comment on public comment as it relates to the First Amendment. So as you know, and as I have told you for many years, public comment is provided by the Open Meetings Act. You're encouraged to have a policy by the Open Meetings Act relative to public comment. Public comment primarily is to address issues of concern to the township, but it can go beyond that as long as there's no breach of the peace and the comment is applicable to the operation of the township business. So does the First Amendment apply? Yes, of course it does, because what has evolved over the years, the Open Meetings Act was enacted in 1976 by the Michigan State Legislature. It has been interpreted over the years by appellate courts, and appellate courts have been asked to interpret the Open Meetings Act as to how far a member of the public can take public comment and what can be said and what can't be said at public comment. So, yes, there is freedom of speech, and that has been outlined and developed by appellate court decisions, Michigan appellate courts, Michigan Supreme Court, and the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals in the federal court. So to that extent, there are First Amendment freedoms protected by the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution tied into public comment, but the foundation of public comment is the Open Meetings Act. So hopefully that will address some of the questions that were offered by the public, and I think sent to maybe some of the trustees, some of you folks, and the supervisor. Did I miss anything?
We'll move on to the consent agenda. Agenda Committee recommends to approve and place on file A, minutes from the September 16th, 2025 regular meeting of the Bedford Township Board. Can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Hirschberger, please take the roll.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye, motion carries. Next, number 5, public comment. Please state your name and address. Limit to 4 minutes, please.
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. Well, let's see here. Why waste time pleading with elected officials, most notably those seated in gilded offices from 9 to 5? They have made it clear they don't want to publicly hear from me. So strong in their conviction, they drew up the 12 commandments for the public to abide by. Now, fearing voter reprisal, they point at the trustees to fix it without the promised public discussion on those 12 items. I would love to debate each one, and you, the board, should be forced to abide by the same, or better yet, let us set your rules, since you consistently fail to abide by your own policies. I have grave concerns that these same individuals are hiding behind closed doors, ignoring fiscal responsibility, and taking opportunity to move items on and off the CIP list in order to manipulate outside the control of the Planning Commission and set budgets. Exorbitant spending on big ticket and pet projects, the roundabout, $50,000 plus for pickleball, and $3 million for a building. And on tonight's agenda, the purchasing of very much needed items, but ahead of the scheduled replacement. There are 2 fire millages that must be on the ballot and be renewed next year if we are to maintain public safety. What if? Our fire union has been forced to arbitrate for a fair wage and equal township benefits, enabling the department to achieve a stable workforce. What if? I want to hear from our labor attorney. We have major binding contracts that must be reviewed now. Or have some of them already been done? What if? Tonight, I would hope policy be set to ensure all township applications appear online in the public packet. The park board applicants should have been placed on November ballot for election. Aren't we a democracy? So why was one applicant denied an interview? Manipulation or proven conflict? Given this injustice, the board must call for Parks Township Liaison Supervisor Pryor to step down from this position and all his other liaison positions due to conflict concerns of improper and inappropriate interference, financial control, and manipulations of these committees. Long overdue, the ordinance department needs a revival. The current staff can't meet demands of working off hours, weekends, or holidays. Despite a new truck with a light bar, it was reported it took both to grab up illegally placed signs during Adopt a Road cleanup. These employees deserve to exit with dignity, to enjoy their retirement years while the township sets a public committee to study and change this department so it better serves the township residents. I would suggest we vote no on getting someone new in there. Let's take care of our unfinished business first, There's a lot of it, and it's very concerning to those of us out here without having full disclosure as to what's going on. Thank you.
Lamar Frederick, Lambertville. I thought I was back in law school, getting a primer on the Open Meetings Act. I'm here to talk about a couple issues. One of them is the scrap the Jacobson mower. It was old when I was here. So I think I don't have any problem getting rid of that. And in turn, Pat has recommended that you buy two 72s, inch mowers. That's to take the place of that big mower that is really in bad shape. And lastly, going back, I guess, about 3 of my prior histories, I used to defend an awful lot of roofing lawsuits. We had a commercial roofing division, and so be very careful and do some real due diligence when you start putting a new roof on the fire department. Do not, in my view, in my experience, put insulation over the current insulation. There's a whole lot of issues that have to be addressed in putting down foam insulation over a steel deck. All that should be investigated. Make sure you're doing the right thing, or you will not have a warranty. When you're done, you're going to have a leaking roof. Lastly, when is the 25-26 budget going to be on the website? You're well into the handling of the budget, but it's not on the website. You got the 24-25 on there, but you don't have 25-26. And here we are in October. You approved it in June. Thank you.
Ken Gagne, 8311 Lambert Street, Lambertville. I'm going to go around a little bit, but I'm here to protest the college voting on the 4th. When I bought my house late summer of 2002, my first winter tax was 2003. There was 7 millages. 2007, there was 9. 2009, there was 10. 2011, there was 13. 2018, there was 15. 2019, there was 16. 23 and 24 was at 16, or 23. At 24, it dropped back to 15. I understand there's been a lot of changes. We've added to the fire department, which I'm 100% behind it. We added police, and we've added some other things to get all that millage up. But I've met, in the last 5 days, I talked to 12 people. I talked to 6 people over at Stone Cold Park Saturday. None of them knew there was 15 millages, because where do you pay your taxes? The bank. You ever see a copy of your winter tax? No. I said, then you have no idea how many millages. I said, no, I just pay it. It comes out of my bank. It comes out of the bank. They send the school the tax. I said, all right, okay. Now, I own a piece of property in Erie. The millage here was 2.17940 for the community college. In 16, it jumped to 3.02940. I looked at every one of my taxes from 2003 to 24. Not one of them says 0.85 millage. So I don't see how they're pushing that as a 0.85 renewal. Now I'm going to jump over to Erie. Community college, 2.17940. I bought it in March of 17. My winter tax last year was 2.17940, but it has a college maintenance, 0.85000. Anybody who wants to see that tax record, they can see it. And from 2004 to 2025, my summer taxes in Bedford went up 15% in 21 years. I know, we got a lot more millage. We got a lot more. When I bought the place, we didn't have police. And I think we may have only had one fire. We didn't have maintenance equipment and stuff like that. My winter tax went up 25% in 21 years. And my main thing to be up here for is I'm trying to find out where they're calling that a renewal, because there's no such a thing. If you put 0.85 on top of 2.17940, you're going to come up, you're not even going to come up with that 3.02940. Now, the other question I got, I may have to come to the township to find out, why does Erie have 2.17940
Ken, thank you for your time.
and Bedford has more? Thank you.
Can I get a quick question, clarification? The motion that I made
Yes,
was
was for agenda items only.
Okay.
We need to stick to agenda items only,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, I looked at the agenda, and it doesn't state for agenda items only, so.
So are we all on the same page then now? But it is, okay. I didn't know if I missed that when I said it, or. Okay.
Todd,
First 4 minutes is agenda, then it's 2 minutes at the end
whatever they
for
want
whatever
to
you
say.
want, right? That's what I thought also.
No.
I'll take responsibility for that because I looked at the agenda.
Okay.
Karen Flynn, Temperance. This is an agenda item. Resident participation in local government is foundational in our democracy, as is the right to speak without fear or favor at board meetings during public comment. The purpose of public comment is to provide residents with a voice so they can share concerns and suggestions, thereby promoting transparency, accountability, and informed governance. Township boards make better decisions when they allow themselves to openly hear residents' perspectives. Members of the democracy advocacy group, Bedford Indivisible, have been standing up here for the past 5 months. We originally stood with concerns about a board member's threats made at a meeting towards those participating in a No Kings rally. We have found it necessary to return to speak at every subsequent meeting. Our voices during public comment seemingly have not been welcomed or encouraged. A former township supervisor and a former candidate for trustee, among others, have raised the concern that this board has reacted inappropriately to criticism. I would characterize the board's reactions as an effort to censor. To censor is to officially suppress or remove anything considered objectionable. Public comment is protected speech under the First Amendment and the Open Meetings Act. It should not be censored. In an ongoing effort escalating on July 15th, the board has taken drastic steps to censor residents, including radically reducing public comment time from 7 down to 2 minutes, marking only the second time in 25 years that any reduction has occurred, and further having the distinction of being the largest by far ever imposed. Prohibiting residents from addressing board members individually or even saying their names, disallowing falsely labeled personal attacks, restricting comment to falsely labeled township business only, threatening residents with removal outside the boundaries allowed under the Open Meetings Act. It must be noted that the board's efforts to censor have been applied with bias. On 9/16, despite the public agenda still stipulating restricted 2 minutes, 3 minutes was granted in real time, but effectively only to those residents who somehow had advanced knowledge of the increase and were attending in favor of the adoption of an official day to honor a political figure, which was also not on the public agenda, so it's unclear how these attendees even knew to show up. The board, having aggressively gavelled and halted our critical speech at 2 minutes for 4 months, was willing to encourage speech they favor and agree with. The proposed 4 and 2 for tonight's vote is still an inappropriate reduction. Please consider also that the standard practice and norm for non-agenda public comment time is 3, not 2 minutes. You should vote for 5 and 3. Contrary to what's been said, non-agenda time is not used by residents to promote bake sales. It is a time for residents to raise important, broad issues of concern. 2 minutes is not enough. Please vote 5 and 3 and adopt the proposed policy additions which protect First Amendment rights and the Open Meetings Act. In the time I have left, I've never provided my address in the many times that I have appeared for public comment, and yet it has been published every time in public board minutes. At least 3 months ago, I explicitly asked the clerk personnel not to publish my address. It has been published anyway. That practice appears to violate the Open Meetings Act and other privacy rights, especially if the speaker, during public comment,
Hello, good evening. Pamela Hess, Temperance. I want to speak today regarding a request I've emailed members of the board about. Citizens of Bedford Township and their right to privacy when speaking at board meetings and their choice to provide their home address. This might sound familiar. I request and urge this board to revise its policy of including a citizen's address in the meeting minutes when the citizen did not specifically provide it. As we've all seen, political violence is becoming an issue we need to be increasingly vigilant about. Just this week alone, 2 New Jersey high school girls were stalked at their homes and later killed by their stalker in a targeted hit and run. Just a few days ago, the house of a prominent South Carolina judge was burnt to the ground, sending 3 people to the hospital. Some information is easy to access thanks to the internet, but we don't need our own local government providing our home addresses if we choose not to state them publicly. As elected board members, it's part of your duty to help keep your constituents safe. It even says so on the bottom of this very agenda and every other agenda. I am requesting this board to honor a citizen's request to privacy by not publishing their home address into the meeting minutes when the citizen's home address is not provided during their public statement. Of course, residents may choose to provide their address if they'd like. However, citizens should have a say about what happens to their information in Bedford. The residents of this town deserve the right to control their privacy to the best of their ability, and that starts here with our elected officials and the policy of the board. Furthermore, the proposition to restrict the public's comment time for an additional 60 seconds is regressive. For a governing body that seemed so passionate to advocate for the First Amendment rights of a prominent podcaster and waxed poetic about how they believe in free speech, I am shocked that this board seems so determined to censor their citizens' free speech. What happened between now and the previous meeting 3 weeks ago? Why would a governing body want to restrict their citizens' rights to free speech when 3 weeks ago, this very board stated that the standard 5 and 2 minutes for public comment time would be restored? I'm certainly looking forward to a lively discussion on the board policy manual, and I'd be happy to change or address everything I just said, barring that discussion. I'm very interested to hear how that goes. Thank you.
Any further comments?
Josh Dean, Recorder of Lambertville. A few things here. So public comment policy. So I don't know if any of you guys got my email that I sent the day after the last board meeting. Either some of you read it or didn't. But I think if Charlie Kirk was here, he would still not be pleased with the way the new public comment policy is being presented as 4 and 2 and still a reduction from what was before. So I think Charlie, if we're going to honor Charlie, might as well do the right thing and make it what it was before, because I think he still wouldn't be satisfied with that, if you ask me. On top of that, Park Board's looking forward to have Dawn Ansta join us. I think she'll be a great asset to our Park Board. We're ready to move forward with what's going on in our department and leave behind the past with the previous member that had to go. As well as Fire Station 2 with the roof replacement. A few years back, they underwent extensive renovations, and I'm just trying to figure out why that wasn't done as part of that project. And on top of that, given that the building does have a lot of age, and I think if I remember correctly, there was asbestos that was found in that building before. Is there going to be asbestos in this roof, and how much is that going to cost to remove and remediate that? That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you for your comment. Any others? Seeing none, we'll be moving on. New unfinished business, public comment. In terms of public comment policy for Bedford Township Board meetings, I like what Mr. Stump wrote, so I'm going to make this motion now. I'm looking for the board to approve the proposed changes to the Bedford Township Board Administrative Policy Manual Section 2.26. The following changes are being proposed by Trustee Josh Stump in accordance with the Michigan Open Meetings Act. The Michigan Open Meetings Act and the protections guaranteed by the First Amendment of the United States. Bedford Township welcomes and encourages public participation during its board meetings to ensure meetings are conducted in an orderly and efficient manner. The following policy shall govern public comment. 1. Timing of public comment. Public comment on board agenda items only. The first public comment period will be held after the presentation section of the agenda. Each speaker may address the board up to 4 minutes on board items that appear on the meeting agenda. General public comment. A second public comment period will commence after the completion of the new business section of the agenda. Each speaker may address the board for up to 2 minutes on any topic. 2. Speech procedures. Individuals wishing to speak must approach the podium when recognized by the chair. Speakers are requested to state their name and address for the record. Each person may speak only once per comment period. Time may not be yielded or transferred to another speaker. Comments must be addressed to the board members, not to the audience. This is not a Q&A session. Board members will not respond to questions during public comment. 3. Protected and unprotected speech. Criticism of township board members, including their conduct, speech, decisions, or actions inside or outside of board meetings, is protected political speech under the First Amendment. A speaker shall forfeit their remaining time and be removed from the meeting if they engage in true threats or incitement of unlawful conduct, speech that is obscene under prevailing legal standards, repeated interruption, or actions that materially disrupt the orderly conduct of the meeting. 4. Advertising. References to nonprofit organizations, community events, or public interest activities are permitted. Commercial advertising or solicitation by for-profit businesses is not permitted during public comment unless directly tied to a community issue under discretion. If adopted, the new time and rules will replace the current language in the Bedford Township Board Administrative Policy Manual under Section 2.26, Public Participation. The board reserves the right to change public time and rules as per the Michigan Open Meetings Act. Note, please keep in mind that public comment is a time for members of the public to address the board. It is not designed to serve as a town hall discussion or back and forth debate.
Support.
We have a second?
That's support. I'll second it.
Discussion?
I have some.
Go ahead, Joe.
I have some discussion. So as I stated before in previous meetings, I'm not going to support anything unless we revert it back to the 5 and 2. Okay? That's not going to happen with me. This was a self-created issue that we've spent way too much time on and should have never even gotten to this point. We had some citizens that came up here and, they said some things to us. That's their right. But I guarantee you, if we had citizens come up here and praise us, we wouldn't change anything. We wouldn't have got to this point. So I think, Josh, I appreciate the work you did. I do agree that we need to run the meeting in an orderly manner, which you've been doing, and we have business that we have to conduct. But again, this was a self-created issue. It should have never gotten to this point. We spent way too much time on this. Our citizens are here. They're allowed to speak. They're allowed to address us. They can come up here and say whatever they want, good, bad, indifferent, and that's what it's all about. And we listen to them and we take notes from that. So I will not be supporting this. And I urge my other board members not to support it either.
Oh, Todd?
Yeah, I'll add to it because Josh actually stopped in my shop, and Josh met with everyone. Josh has taken this. He met with all groups, your group, the other group, laws. He went over everything, and this is what he came up with. And he asked me if I would support it. I said, by all means. I said, everyone is in agreement on this. So give and take with everyone. I said, I will support this 100%, Josh. Josh put in the work, so I will support it.
Yeah, I take a look at, first of all, there's recent meeting in Howell Township that lasted for over 7 hours. Okay, so these things can happen, and that was like last week. I also took a look at what the Michigan Township Association looked at. I also took a look at what Josh did. Now, that's why I like this. I think it works. I don't want to see commercial stuff being advertised up here because I could see where somebody could certainly abuse that. I like to promote the nonprofit stuff. So in taking a look at what other townships have done, we're actually a minute ahead of some of them because a lot of them just do 3 and 3. So that was my thought. But Josh, appreciate the memo. Craig?
Yeah, I won't repeat everything Trustee Gorder mentioned, but I agree wholeheartedly with all of it. In that it's a self-created problem, and I agree fully. I don't need to repeat it all. Everything he said was exactly accurate. A couple things that my thoughts on putting this in the policy manual. One that I would add is under 1, timing of public comment, and the first bullet point. At the end of that, I would, if this is going into a policy manual, I would add to that. And I guess this would be a friendly amendment to have it stated that, which is what we had been doing, that it would say that the individual would state which agenda item they are going to address. That the same thing was I don't know if you would put that under speech procedures or under bullet point 1, public comment on agenda items only. So that would be, we can get to that if you would want to add that to the actual policy. I think that would be appropriate. I would keep the 5 and 2 as already stated, and then I would not include at anything in 3 or 4. I think as stated previously, general public comment, each speaker may address the board for up to 2 minutes on any topic is the verbiage. And just as much as we've talked about as this is a self-created issue, we do not have an issue with advertising. That is not an issue whatsoever. We have, as far as I know, do not have a problem with that. And I don't think in this community, I don't think that we would need to state that you can't do that. I would feel if you had a local business owner that was coming up to say, hey, we're going to be doing whatever, I don't understand why they wouldn't be allowed to do that at public comment time. I would say if that's how a local business owner is choosing to advertise, they're probably not very good at advertisement, and that is probably not a great bang for your buck advertisement to get out to all 4.5 YouTube viewers. But I would think that they would be allowed to do that, and I don't think that that's ever been a problem. It seems like a goofy thing to include. 3, protected and unprotected speech is I do not think that should be included at all. I think it's redundant to say that to state what you can do and then what you can't do. It makes more sense to say what you can't do, I suppose, which I had said that I would think that it would already say in our policy that these are governed by Open Meetings Act and the First Amendment. So I wouldn't include any of 3 or 4 at all for those reasons. I would add that we have somewhere in the policy that says we would ask that they would please state the agenda item that they're referencing, and then again, to reiterate, I would keep the 5 and 2.
I'm going to go back a little bit on the advertising thing. Okay, I didn't say anything at a board meeting one time, and I ended up getting about 20,000 views on TikTok. So if somebody comes up here and they're really creative, it isn't just a few on Facebook. That thing can go viral if you're real creative. So if you got a real good marketing person, they can come up here and do a 2-minute commercial. 2-minute commercials are done all the time on the Super Bowl. So if you are creative, you could use that. That's all I'm saying, is that things go viral. And I didn't even say anything, and I was getting quite a few hits. So I'm
I would reiterate that is a non-issue, though. We've never had a problem with that.
Well, I did, and I didn't even say anything. So it could happen.
Now that it's out there, it could become an issue.
Yeah.
That's all.
So I disagree.
A couple things also, and more legal-wise, under number 2, sub 2, speakers are requested to state their name and address for the record. They're requested, but they don't have to, correct? And we don't have to publish, or does that have to be published, Phil? If it doesn't have to be published, we should not be publishing that.
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to publish them anymore. I'm just going to write if they're Lambertville Temperance so that people are aware if they're a Bedford resident speaking on an issue or not.
That's fine. And on the back, it has the board reserves the right to change public time and rules per the Opens Meeting Act. Should that reflect the supervisor has the right? Because the supervisor is running the meeting, or should it remain the board, Phil?
In my opinion, it should be the board.
Okay.
This is a board policy, and if the circumstances are such that that public comment time, in the board's opinion, needs to be expanded, the board should do that. A motion should be made, second, discussion, and the board should vote on it. That's my opinion. To get to your other question, the Open Meetings Act, well, I can read it right for you here, what it states. This gives you the flavor. It's not about public comment, but a person must not be required as a condition of attendance at a meeting of a public body to register or otherwise provide his or her name or other information or otherwise to fulfill a condition precedent to attendance. Now, that doesn't talk about the public comment, but it goes along with your point that if someone chooses, they're encouraged to state their name and their address, but if they choose not to provide their address, they don't have to, and they're still allowed to talk. And Trudy already addressed the point about the meeting minutes, so that's a non-issue. That's not going to happen. So I hope that addresses your questions.
It does. I can't stress enough that we need to revert back at a minimum back to the 5 and 2. We need our citizens to feel like they are being heard and they are not being censored. And if they want to talk censorship, a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was watching the news and seeing where in Dearborn, the mayor literally told in an opens meeting a resident that was speaking, "You are not welcome here." That was a mayor that said that. Talk about being censored and not feeling welcome. and I don't want any part of that here.
Because he was a Christian.
Exactly, and it came down to that. And I felt compelled. I would wanted to go up to Dearborn and speak at the next public comment and say, how dare you even say that to one of your residents? And I do not want our residents to feel like that we're telling them that in uncertain terms by limiting their speech.
And I also believe this should always be a board decision. You know what I mean? Because future boards should have the right to structure their meetings as well. You know, and if they like it, fine. If they don't, then they can say, no, we keep it.
And I agree with you on that. In the election cycle, in a new supervisor or a reelected supervisor should be able to take a look at that and say, hey, listen, I'm the new one. This is how I want to do my meetings, and bring it to the board. And I'm okay with that, taking a look at it. But it needs to be done at the right time. So
I have one other comment, and this kind of addresses Craig, and I respect your comments. And that's why I've encouraged a policy to be implemented by the board. But this is another excerpt from the Open Meetings Act. A person must be permitted to address a meeting of a public body under rules established and recorded by the public body. That's the whole purpose of this exercise. And you're right, commercial speech has not been a problem. But if we're going to establish rules, we probably should look at proactively and prospectively what might happen in the future. You can change your policy, but that's why when I looked at the policy that was proposed by Josh, and I've looked at many of them over the years. I've been somewhat of a student of the Open Meetings Act for a long time because that's what I do in representing units of government. But so anyhow, that's why those sections, I think, are good, because you're establishing rules that hopefully everybody can live by.
Well, that's my argument against that. The more rules you make, the more you're not going to think of everything. And that's why all of our founding documents are so simplified. And so the opposite of today's documents and legislation is you're trying to think of every single thing, and I would argue you end up encouraging someone trying to find loopholes that say, look, you didn't think of this one, and
that's the other side of the argument. You're right.
I think even like I said, I think as well as saying criticism, putting it in the verbiage, criticism of township board members, which is obviously I agree with. It's almost like it encourages it as a, like by putting it in, like that's the purpose of the public comment, which in a way it is. But yeah, I'm not a fan of 3 or 4 at all. I would think it was, I think that they're redundant, and I'm against their purpose. But
I see your point.
I'm one person.
But I see what Joe made a comment. I would go down to Dearborn. Well, if he went down to Dearborn and he got up there, they might say, well, did you read our rules? We're not going to let you do this or do that or do that. And we had no rules except to talk about agenda items. Mm-hmm. So, in terms of if you got a framework, and Josh looked at them, I looked at them, quite a few places we had no framework, and then now we're trying to get a framework. So, yeah, we're kind of in uncharted territory. Judy and Krista, they've been here quite a while. Times were different back probably 12 years ago too, in terms of what's going on. So that's, you go to Frenchtown, they publish their rules with every meeting agenda. So, Judy?
I just want to also thank Josh. This is really good. You met with everybody. I've went to a lot of classes through the years, and every class I was taught that anything over 3 minutes is redundant. They repeat. They don't say anything new. So that's why I thought the 3 minutes was a good time. 4 is fine. I'm good with that. So I'm fine with everything that we have.
So for me, obviously I met with a lot of you, listened to your concerns, listened to your perspectives. We're all different. We have different backgrounds and experiences, and tried to thread a needle to find consensus that allowed for maximum freedom of people to say and criticize and do what they want, and also give them the time to do that. All of us have different opinions on time and what the guidelines of what should be in there, what should not be in there. This is what I came up with, and I totally understand where Craig and Joe are coming from 100% with the 5 minutes to 2 minutes, and whether or not advertisement should be in it and not be in it, and I will be the first to tell you. And at some point in the future, something's going to come up that none of us thought of, right? And we might have to go back and amend the policy. That's just life. That's how the way things work. But yeah, other than that, I'm good to go with this as is. Well, you made the motion. I think Joe made a friendly amendment.
I didn't make a friendly
Craig made the
I made an amendment to have it state whether you put it in timing of public comment or in number 2 in speech procedures to at the first comment time to what, so that I guess that would be to you guys. It would be to you guys.
Yeah.
If you would accept that to have it say in the policy that we would say ask them to state what agenda item you're speaking on.
I have no issues with that.
But
I'm fine with that.
and I would also,
I'm fine.
Trudy, you said you're no longer going to publish addresses, but do we need to have it as a line item in there that under like speech procedures that no address will be published as long as we're not publishing them?
Oh, we're not going to do it.
Okay.
The people, if they choose to publicly state their address, they can. If they do, then it'll be in the meeting minutes, unless Trudy is just not going to put it in, regardless of what they say. Okay.
Regardless whether they say their address or not, I'm just going to put Lambertville or Temperance.
All right. So
I'm just going to make it across the board.
you don't have to give your address to speak at public comment time. So if that's going to be our practice going forward, it doesn't need to be in the policy.
Okay.
I just want to thank Josh for putting in the time to do this and to speak to everybody. It's a lot of work, and I like what's in here. Again, I appreciate the work that you put into it, you and meeting with everybody. So,
Thank you.
All right, let's vote.
Any other discussion?
Has a motion was made, it was seconded.
Friendly
A
amendment.
friendly amendment was proposed, but has that been acted upon?
The friendly amendment that was accepted is the one that they will ask what agenda items they're speaking on.
Okay.
State which
Right.
which item.
Okay. I just want, and so the maker of the motion accepts that, and the one who seconded it, okay?
Correct.
All right, I'll wake back up, I fell asleep.
Any further discussion? Ms. Hirschberger, please take the roll.
Mr. Pryor?
Yes.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
No.
Mr. Montry?
I'm voting no with Joe.
Ms. Janasek?
aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
Motion carries.
My no vote was personal against Stump.
Now we can go on to an easy subject. 8A, vouchers for payment. Ms. Hirschberger?
I'd like to make a motion that the following vouchers be approved for payment. General Fund, $125,978.27. Fire Fund, $81,551.50. Police Fund, $54,153. Fire Equipment, $525. Downtown Development Authority, $2,324.61. Library Fund, $58,616.43. American Rescue Plan, $26,783.27. Rehab Fund, $30. Capital Asset Revolving Fund, $970. Building Department, $7,633.65. Sewer O&M Fund, $17,091.07. Trust and Agency Fund, $11,918, for a grand total of $387,574.80.
Support.
Any discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll, Ms. Hirschberger.
Hirschberger votes aye. Ms. Janasek?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Pryor?
Aye, motion carries. 8B, rezoning request of parcel number 58-02-013-002-00 from R-2B Single Family Residential to Agricultural Zoning District located on the north side of Vienna West Road, west side of Minks Road, otherwise known as 750 Vienna West Road, Temperance, Michigan, 48182. Craig, you want to take this one?
You thought you were at the top of the agenda. You thought you'd be in and out of here.
Right. Hey, we're not doing bad.
So this is pretty straightforward. If you look at, if the board wants to go to, I don't know if George wants to pull it up. If you go to the fourth page, which has a number 2 at the bottom, if you look at the middle map of the existing zoning, you can see the yellow outlines along Erie Road and along Minks Road. That all used to be green. That was added in at some time where that's residential zoning along those two. You can see the subject parcel is on would be the southeast corner of that map, which is a Vienna address, which if you look, all the other parcels along the way are all agricultural. The resident would like to start doing some more agricultural type zoning uses, and is why he's looking to change from residential to ag. He's got 5 acres, meets all requirements, and had a unanimous vote from the Planning Commission. So if there's any questions or comments, you want to add anything? No? Okay. All right, if there's no other comments or questions or concerns, I will propose a motion to approve the request from Andrew Hoover for a rezoning request of parcel number 58-02-013-002-00 from R2B, Single Family Residential, to Agricultural Zoning District located on the north side of Vienna West Road, west of Minks Road, otherwise known as 750 Vienna West Road, Temperance, Michigan, 48182, for the reasons that the rezoning is consistent with the Township Master Plan's goals, policies, and future land use designations, and the Ag District will preserve agricultural land and open space while providing a transition between smaller residential lots and surrounding agricultural areas.
Support.
Support.
Who had it?
Just debating.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Hirschberg, please take the roll.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Trigger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye, motion carries. Next, C, approve the purchase of a Hitachi ZX35 compact excavator. Pat Thatcher, Chase Lindecker. If you don't know, Pat is our maintenance manager. Pat, how long you been here?
Since 2003, 22 years.
Long time. So he knows our equipment. He knows what we need. He's used this stuff. So, Pat, you want to tell us about the Hitachi, why you need it?
The Hitachi, we're looking to upgrade our equipment. The cemetery is getting crowded already, the new one, and it makes it hard to get in without moving 5 or 6 stones. With the Hitachi, we can drive right down the aisles, dig over stones, and not have to move as many. Plus, our other digger is 35 years old now, and it's having issues. So this is the simplest way to replace it.
Any discussion or?
This is budgeted, correct?
Yes.
Was this in last year's budget even? I thought it was even
You know what? It was
last year's
the
budget.
compact was last year, and we didn't do it.
I've been trying to get it for
Well,
3 years.
that's what I was going to say.
almost 3 years.
We've discussed it in budget meetings minimally the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And I thought it was even in the budget last year, officially.
Right. Credit. You and I talked about it, you remember? Because it was a used one we were talking about, and then we didn't act on a used one because we said for the price difference, we should probably look at new, and then it was put off. But if you haven't seen, go to the cemetery, and if you've never seen them move headstones and so on, it's not an easy process. I can tell you that. So,
Prefer
one
to wait.
cemetery is pretty tight.
Rather wait for it's my time to go to the cemetery. Personally,
Yeah.
just wait.
So, but any other questions or?
It's probably a separate thing. What are we doing with John Deere?
I want to keep that because it's handy for a lot of other things, cleanups in parks and stuff like that.
Okay. But it's still usable for other uses.
Yeah.
It's just
I just don't like it being my main piece of equipment to dig a grave. It broke down, I think in June or July, and it was down for 10 weeks. And we ended up renting an excavator, and it cost us $1,200 to have it around for the week. So I think it's good to keep them both around. We got room now, so.
Trudy?
I was just going to say that it's broke down quite a few times, and then we had to rent for a funeral. So then we're not recouping enough to even cover both the labor and the rental.
And the new equipment is running higher pressures. They'll lift more, they'll do more. So what the backhoe can't do now, this excavator will do. I learned that with the rental that we had. It lifted stones that I've never been able to
touch before.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, discussion, comments? If I can get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the Hitachi ZX35 compact excavator, the amount of $59,722, which coming out of the Maintenance Department Capital Asset Revolving Fund, account 447-000-970.0017.
Support.
I'll do just a quick friendly amendment that it's through Renco Equipment, and it was identified as the low bidder.
Accepted.
Fine with that.
Okay. We have a second. Ms. Hirschberger, take the roll.
Yep, accepted.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye. Motion approved. Next, approve the purchase of two 52-inch mowers.
I've been trying since I took over the shop to get on a plan to not run everything we have into the ground. Right now I've got 5 or 6 pieces of equipment that are laying there ready to go into the ground. So buying these is a step forward. I'm on a plan to replace these every 3 to 5, and we're right on target with it.
The thing is, Pat, and with Bob Miller, they have done a good job at identifying Pat has what we need. And instead of our maintenance garage, the old one being a museum, we need to update stuff. And we just never really did that as a township some years back. So if you look at other maintenance departments and so on, they keep this stuff and then they either sell it or they keep some in reserve and then they get rid of what they had in reserve. So we've made some very good changes, but I think we need to keep up on our equipment. And mowers are the big one, and they take a lot of abuse. When you say, Pat, with all the cutting we do, people don't realize we cut over 35 parcels of property, not just the parks.
Yeah.
So,
And 4 cemeteries.
any questions on the mowers? Go ahead, Todd.
I just have one question here something to point out. So in our memo here where it says, it's talking about the purchase of 2 52-inch mowers. When it gets down to the end, it says, therefore, I am requesting the board approve the purchase of 2 Skag 72-inch mowers. So a typo.
Oh, that'll be the next.
It's probably the next item is the 70.
Yeah, the next one's a 72, and it has 72 on the 52.
Yeah, that should be 52. So
It should be 52, so just make sure that's corrected when we vote on this,
Okay.
if it matters.
Well, I think we need to make the correction. Any other?
Are they Skag 52-inch mowers?
Yeah.
Okay, so just 52.
And then the next two are going to be Skag 72-inch. So this one here is just, it's 72 twice instead of once.
Real quick on these mowers, I seen with the excavator that we just bought that it does, and I'm going to go back to the Mr. Steiner days and really ask for, there's a 4-year, 4,000 full year warranty on the excavator. What do we got warranty-wise on these mowers, if anything?
It's nothing. I don't think it's that much.
Usually it's about 500 hours for a commercial use unit. So it's nowhere. A homeowner unit is usually about 1,000 for a commercial grade one. But when you buy a commercial grade mower, using it for commercial purposes like mowing every day all summer.
500 hours is less than 2 years probably.
But there should be included, when we get it, they will give us a
There
full
will be a warranty.
Okay. Right.
We can in the package, it says there's a 2-year limited warranty.
Okay.
And that's why we chose the Buck and Nobby ones, because
right down the road. Yep.
I don't have to deal with running all over.
Your warranty, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on the 52s? If I can get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of 2 52-inch mowers from Buck and Nobby, and it's going to be at a total cost of $21,654 to be paid from the Capital Asset Revolving Fund account 447-000-970-0017.
Support.
Second. Ms. Hirschberger, please take the roll.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye, motion carries. 8E, approve the purchase of 2 72-inch mowers.
This is to replace our 1995 Jacobson HR-15. It's a 15-foot batwing deck. It was good in its day, but it's 30 years old, and I can't even get blades for it anymore. So it's time to replace it. To replace the same unit would probably be $300,000. So I decided to go with the 272s that'll mow at probably twice the speed of what the Jacobson can mow, and I'll have 2 guys trailered over to the ballparks. I can probably cut my time down to half by going with these 272s.
To give you an idea, but, go ahead.
I have a question. So with the batwing, you're able to get in those ditches?
No, it's not that kind. It's a finish mower. They only drop straight down.
Okay. That was going to be my question.
This Jake, we milked this for, we actually bought one for parts from Bedford High School.
We bought
had one
2.
sitting in there, 2 of them in their garage, and we took the parts off that, and we had it redone. What was that, like 3 years ago, Pat, that we did that? Or?
Coming up on, yeah.
That was like 3 years ago. So we really tried to get as much out of this thing that we could, but it's just done.
It's in sad shape.
Any other discussion, or if I can get a motion?
Go ahead. I'll make a motion. We approve the purchase of 2 72-inch Skag 72-inch mowers from Buck and Nobby at a total cost of $28,992 to be paid from the Capital Asset Revolving Fund account number 447-000-970-0017.
Can I get a second?
Support.
Support. Ms. Hirschberger, please take the roll.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, gentlemen, remain standing. Number 8H, G, approve the Fire Station 2 roof repair.
No, F.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, the Jake, sorry. I'm already past the Jake. So anyways, okay. So F, approve the sale or scrap of the 1990 Jacobson HR-15.
I say we try to sell all of them as a lot. There's a lot of parts and a lot of pieces. If somebody wants to make a go of it, if it has time, they can. So just put it on the GovX or whatever it is, the website, and try and get rid of it. I don't know that it's going to go for much. It's a 7,000-pound mower going down the road.
What are we going to list it as, and how long are we going to list it before we say we're not getting any bites, let's just dump it?
Yeah, I say we try and sell it for a while. I don't know, Pat, do you know what it might even be worth that we would even ask for that thing?
Well, for those other two, we paid $2,400. And the one was, it ran, but it wasn't serviceable. It couldn't go down the road. We had to trailer both of them out. So it might be worth $5,000 at absolute best. I'm thinking more like 3 or 4.
Should we maybe list it at 5 and see if we get 3 or 4?
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
I did find other listings online, but there were no prices listed. They were call for pricing. So if, we might be able to do some research, but there's not a lot out there in regards to these.
Like you said, it's kind of like antique cars, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to go search for the parts, so this might be great for somebody that's really into it. So
how are we listing this and who's doing it?
we can, you want to list on, do we want to list it on a website like gov.com or try and take bids in, or what?
Last time you had questions about the Gov deals, and it kind of works similar to eBay, but we don't really pay a fee, unless it sells. So there is no listing fees at the time when I checked. It works very similar to eBay, where they take a cut of it if it sells. So that is an option, but
So if we don't sell it, we don't pay anything.
Yeah.
I would say we give it a try. That might be more broad exposure.
Yeah, trying to get bids on it. You're not going to cast a wide enough net, I wouldn't think.
It's a very specific piece of equipment.
Yeah, let's try that. So just need to somebody make a motion and include that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the sale of the 1990 Jacobson HR-15 with setting $5,000.
Yeah, that'd be good. Let's try that.
You want to add, and the 2 corresponding units?
Yes.
linked to it?
And the 2 corresponding units.
All spare parts.
Yeah, everything.
Because I have taken the other 2 almost all the way apart and stored the good parts that we could possibly need. So they're in storage on pallets.
And do we?
So that'll be a selling point.
Of course, you're going to put in there, we don't deliver, they have to come and get it, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Support.
Okay, seeing a second. Any further discussion?
Made the second. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll, Ms. Hirschberger.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye, motion carries. Okay, now we can get to the roof. 8G, approve the Fire Station 2 roof repair and replacement. Gentlemen, remain standing. This is something that we looked at originally. When was this, Pat, roughly?
Probably February.
Yeah, when it started leaking and the cracks and so on.
I had it repaired right away, and things got away from everybody, and it got put on the back burner, and now it's time. It has to be done before it gets cold.
Okay. And then in terms of we've got the bid. Chase, if you'd like to talk about the company that's the lowest bid.
So
Advanced
Construction Group came in at the lowest bid for removing the roof. Everyone bid removing the roof and reinstalling a new roofing system over top. Some of them advised more insulation than others. Advance advised 1 layer of insulation over top of the existing. They did core samples all over the roof to check for moisture and to see if it was compromised, the existing foam insulation was compromised. In their opinion, it was not, but as we asked, they did include a price, $3 per square foot, to do the rest of the roof if we wanted to tear out the existing insulation and put it back in. So their bid was $15,750, but with that $3 a square foot price was $20,100 to replace all the insulation.
And we're going to, whoever we pick, we also have to move some lines up on the roof. the HVAC and stuff.
Yeah, there's a HVAC unit.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of lines.
So they advised there was electrical lines and the HVAC line set that would have to get moved. The penetrations are going to be lower than the second layer of foam. So you obviously don't want a penetration below your roof coming up through your roof deck. So the second layer of foam would bring us into compliance with Michigan Building Code for our rating on that. So
No, I'm always a big believer.
If we approve that, does Advanced subcontract that, or do we subcontract it for the HVAC work?
I don't think any of them included that in their price. We're going to have to.
We're going to have to. That'll be a separate thing for us to subcontract out to have someone do that for HVAC. Is that just Rawlings then?
Yeah, normally they do most all our work, so we would contact them, get a price, they can get up there and see.
So does that need included in whatever this motion is? If that's a separate deal with a separate company and?
I mean, we could do an up to.
Seems like a
certain point. I mean,
we're not approving you wouldn't be approving anything for Advanced to do if we're subcontracting that to whomever, Rawlings, presumably Rawlings, but I don't know if that would be in this motion or not.
None of these bids cover
including
that,
right? Yeah.
So it had to be done regardless.
Real quick, and this is going back several years, we did a lot of work to a lot of the fire stations, maybe the chief remembers. I mean, every meeting while we were doing all this stuff, we were getting budget adjustments for this, for that. I mean, one time we had to move power lines, you know. Remember that. That was ridiculous. I thought we did some roof work on that fire
All the roof
station.
has been repaired except for the northeast corner. That is probably 30 years old. Nobody ever touched it.
Okay.
It's the one little, like four car bay in the northeast corner of the fire station. It's never been touched since I've been around.
So it probably should have been changed back when they were doing all that.
There was
you know what I
so
mean? It would
much,
have made sense.
we were doing so much work on several of the fire halls. It was hard to keep track of which ones. I'm losing track of which ones we did.
Yeah, that one, they didn't do it, but it probably should have been done at the time.
Okay.
I don't think it needed it at the time, so they avoided
Yeah.
it because of the money. I
And
don't
I-
know if Chief knows more about it.
I do have some concerns. I know the advanced group is the lowest bid at 15,000, but the other three are all north of 20 to 25, all within a few $1,000s each other. Why are they so low, almost half?
So,
I mean, that.
Good question, Joe. We researched it and chased.
So I have here, I called around to their references, which include Bedford Public Schools, Tom Martin, who endorsed them. They did work for Bedford Public Schools on roofing. Kripke Enterprises, Tracy Spangler, gave them an A+, said safety was a high priority for them. They had safety meetings every day. They did core samples on their roofs, saved them some money there. Jenna Cross Lutheran Services, they've been using them for 7 years on 13 different sites. They do all their roofing, repair, and new roofs. They do their disaster rehab and all that work. They currently have projects going. Toledo Public Schools, I talked to Bill Soroka. They've been doing all Toledo Public Schools work for 9 years. He said they do exactly what they say they will. He said all the repair work, they've been on every one of Toledo Public Schools, 70 different buildings. Mercy Health Partners called back after I left, and Al had talked to them.
I talked to St. V's. They've done about 900,000 square feet of roof for St. V's, and the guy says we've been using them for 30 years. I think it boils down on some of these roofs when they're doing core samples. They probably try and keep their overhead low. You know, in contracting, you know, if you're not out buying new trucks every day and all that, you can.
I do appreciate you checking the reference.
Yeah, so we wanted to make.
That makes me feel better. It does.
When we got these, I was going to throw that one out right away because it was so low. It didn't make sense.
Right.
And so we started doing due diligence, mostly Chase did. And when he come back with a total repair of replacement of insulation at 20,000, he's still beating everybody else's price if he has to tear everything out.
Yeah, we had that same question. I mean, I did too, because I was like, whoa, we got a little bit of a difference here.
Yeah.
And then you start doing your research, and you're like, okay, I kind of get how they're doing things. So I was real comfortable with it. They're also a local company, and I would also recommend that we do the insulation. Even if it didn't need it, I would rather have that put in there just in case.
The reason TJ isn't on this list is because they do all of TJ's commercial roofing. Not all of, but most of them.
I was wondering why TJ's, because we've used TJ's quite a bit, and
Right.
That was my go-to call when I had a leak or whatever. I called TJ's.
yeah.
And when the bids went out, he showed up, and TJ's didn't.
I was advised that TJ only does more smaller jobs and repair work now, and they only have maybe 2 guys they got out of a lot of their commercial side and are really focusing on the residential now.
Sad, because they were a local company, too.
So one of the employees bought out the original owner, so TJ's still local.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, so they're just shifting focus.
He's right next door to TJ's. They're that close.
Okay.
They do things together.
So, the motion, do you want it to include the total price? What was that with the $3 per square foot?
Yeah, I would like to have that, and maybe we can do an up to on the lines. I don't know, Pat, do you think that would be more than $5,000 or $4,000 or?
Well, they're asking for up to $4,500.
I mean, I think that should probably be.
Should cover it.
I would think so, and hopefully maybe even less if we can.
I mean, they just.
To Lamar's point, I think it's worth investigating doing the insulation because we don't want to do something, go over an existing material and void the warranty, to his point, and I've seen that happen many times. Him more than me, but I've seen it happen. So the expenditure of the additional money, if it needs to be done, should be done so that we don't void a warranty.
I personally
we just leave that to their
I personally would
discretion?
just do it, just to be on the safe side, because we want this roof to last a long time. That's just me coming from construction of saying, hey, I like new stuff.
What was that total dollar amount?
$20,100
Yeah.
if they do it all.
$20,100. With up to $4,500 necessary for HVAC
Would
work.
be separate.
You need a separate motion for that?
It would
I
just
would-
be a to me, it just seems like it's a completely separate thing.
Yeah.
Like that
Because
we
they
need
Whatever,
won't
if
be
you wanna
doing
do-
that.
have like
All right.
It
Okay.
seems like a completely separate thing to me.
Okay.
Find
It's
out.
good to know. It's good to know that we would need to do that. But yeah, I would think that's you don't even know who you're contracting with or anything.
No.
It's probably going to be 2 companies. We're probably going to have electricians up and heating and air.
So I would do a separate motion not to exceed $4,500 to move the HVAC and the electrical lines.
I'm good with that.
Or do we just want to wait on that totally until we have to see,
I
or?
think if we wait, it's going to hold off this. I think we just make the motion for up to 45 and
I'll go ahead and make the first motion that we contract out with Advanced Construction Core Group for the roof at Fire Station number 2 on Dean Road, and the amount of $20,100, which would include the extra $3 a square foot for the insulation. And that will come out of Fund 206,000,930.0000 maintenance.
I got a second.
I'll support it.
Second, Todd. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll. Ms. Hirschberger?
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye, motion carries. Okay.
And the separate motion.
And then now we're going to need a separate motion for the electrical and the HVAC.
Can we do that, Phil, since it wasn't on the agenda, or we already
It
amended the
is,
agenda?
no, it's on this.
It's in the memo.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's on the memo.
Like
Oh,
up to
on the memo.
4,500.
Yep.
We're good?
So
Yeah,
what's the
we should-
process?
we
What's the
should-
process there? If we do that, what are we approving?
Basically, any potential necessary electrical or HVA work not to exceed $4,500.
But what from the detail is that? Just are you authorizing the supervisor to what? Like you're just saying that, but how does that actually play out.
Could throw that in.
Is that what's happening?
Allow me to contract it so
That's
that
what
we
I'm
can
asking.
move forward.
If
That would be
needed.
good.
Okay.
I can inform the board too who we're going to
Authorizing,
use.
That's what I just want to make sure that we're.
Yeah, I can inform you guys, like, if it's not Rawlings.
I would assume it's going to
somebody
be
else,
Rawlings and an electrician.
We'll tell you, yeah.
It's two things, HVAC and electrical, and you'd be authorizing the supervisor to approve the work or enter into a contract and approve the work for a total cost not to exceed $4,500 for both components of the job, both HVAC and electrical.
I'll go ahead and make the motion that we approve the supervisor tendering contracts for electrical and HVAC work on Bedford Fire Station number 2, not to exceed the amount of $4,500.
Support.
Second from Todd. Any further discussion? Ms. Hirschberger, please take the roll.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye, motion carries. Thanks, guys. Number 8H, approve appointment of Dawn Anstead to the Park Board. If you'd like to come up, Josh. I believe you were there during the interviews.
No, it was
Who was there?
Andrew and Matt.
Okay, so they did the interviews.
Yes.
Okay, and we received the applications. Just to make it known and be real clear, I am not the Park Board liaison.
There is no liaison.
There is no liaison. They voted not to have one. So I am not the liaison. Yes, they come to Chase and I that we're doing the maintenance stuff. But I just want to make that real clear. So, and why did you guys pick Dawn?
Well, Don, would you like to come up?
It's up to you. Yeah, go right ahead.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Dawn Anstead. I'm a Temperance, Michigan resident. I graduated from Bedford High School. I've got an undergraduate degree from University of Toledo. I got my master's degree from the University of Findlay back in 2000 to 2004. I am currently retired. I've got quite a bit of time in this community to help. I've always been very interested in the park board. I was going to run in the last election. I was still kind of reeling in from losing a parent, so I didn't run. And then I think I had heard it came open, and I applied, and I think we had a great interview. I really liked what I heard, and I'm hoping I can make a difference in this community.
I believe you also are a pretty good writer and willing to start writing grants, too.
Correct.
Awesome. Go ahead, Tom.
Just in full disclosure to everybody, both myself and my wife are friends with Dawn. We worked with her back in the 90s, that roadway package system, which is now FedEx Ground.
That's correct.
I didn't even know Dawn applied for this until I saw it on the packet, and then I talked to her about it. So I have no problem with Dawn being on the park board. My vote is not going to be because I'm friends with her.
I used to fix our conveyor belts at FedEx RPS.
Oh, my God.
Why they kept on breaking.
That's why no freight was moving, huh? No, I still haven't got my package, Todd. Where's it at?
That's because it's FedEx now.
So, any questions of Dawn or
Were all
thoughts?
the applicants interviewed?
All but one, and I believe he was invited. So, there was another lady from the library as well. We had some good candidates.
What's the term ending?
That was a good question.
We'll have to put that on there.
What do we have left?
4-year term, 28.
Yeah.
3 years left in the term.
3 years left.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll make a motion to appoint Dawn Anstead to the Park Board.
Support.
As presented. Go ahead.
Support.
Okay, any further discussion?
Thanks for applying.
Ms. Hirschberger, please take the roll.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye, motion carries. Thanks, Dawn.
After the meeting, is it okay if she gets sworn in afterwards?
That's up to the clerk.
All right.
We'll see if I have time.
All right.
So, Dawn, you don't mind working like 60 hours a week for free, almost? Great. So, okay, next is 8I, approve the hiring of another ordinance officer. In your packets, as you've seen, we have 2 that are have to cut their hours because they're going to be collecting Social Security, so we're not going to increase budget, but allow us to hire somebody else for 20 hours. Todd, you had mentioned before about trying to do something on the weekends. When we hire this person, we want to do that as well. It might be 1 or 2 Saturdays, whatever. We did find when we had somebody on Saturdays, burning did cut down. We prevented some things from happening, panic, what I call the panic calls. My neighbor's putting up a fence, and I think he's on my property. And he was. So that's what we're looking for. Any questions, thoughts, comments? So that's where we're at.
The new hire, did anybody else apply? I'm not.
We haven't even applied. I just want authorization to go look for somebody.
Okay.
And then we'll bring it to the board on.
This is not going to increase our budget at all.
No, because these 2 are cutting their hours.
The other 2 have to cut their hours.
Okay.
Right.
Just want to make sure.
Yep. So. All right. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion. We approve the hiring of another ordinance officer.
Support.
Second by Mr. Gore. Would you please take any further discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll, Ms. Hirschberger.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Stump?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Pryor?
Aye. Motion carries. Next up, comments from Township Board members?
Public.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. We amended it.
Don't open another can of worms.
It's like, how many changes?
Hi, Deneen. The horrific murder of Charlie Kirk due to gun violence on September 10th is a tragedy that has deeply impacted our community and compels me to address the board with an urgent proposal. We must use this shocking event to recognize the widespread crisis of gun violence that affects us all. The death of Charlie Kirk is sadly not an isolated incident in our area or nation. We have recently seen a devastating murder-suicide involving a former high school bowling coach and recent Bedford graduate in June of this year. The November 2021 mass shooting at Oxford High School, which killed 4 students and injured 7 others, took place just 90 miles away. Nationally, the statistics confirm that this is an unrelenting crisis. Firearms are the #1 cause of death for children and adolescents in the U.S. And over 41,000 American lives were lost to gun violence last year. That's actually a decrease. I urge the board to dedicate September 10th as a day to honor all those in our Bedford Township community and across the country who have died from gun violence in the past year. Using this day to acknowledge the full scale of the crisis rather than just a single loss would create a more meaningful, unified, and impactful day of commemoration for our community. Thank you for considering how we can best honor all of the victims of gun violence. Thank you.
Justin McCullough, Temperance. I hope this doesn't create an undue burden on members of the board, but I'm requesting that the board contact all members of the public who have had their addresses published in previous meeting minutes to give them the opportunity to choose whether or not they want their address published. Redacting personal identifying information is standard practice for any official documents released to the public, or you could just black it out and re-upload the minutes. And then I realize this is not a Q&A, but I do have a question for Mr. Goldsmith. If a quorum of the board discusses an agenda item via email, and then the board discusses an agenda item via email, then I believe, according to the OMA, the board is in violation of the OMA. The OMA requires that all discussions of public bodies be made in the open. Since there is no notice and no opportunity for the public to participate in email discussions, this type of meeting does not comply with the OMA. If that meeting and discussion violate the OMA, then the discussed agenda items would need to be rescheduled for discussion, allowing for public comment at future meetings. Case in point, Mr. Montry posted on Facebook the day before the board meeting on September 16th, definitively declaring to members of the public that the board would create Charlie Kirk Day. As other members of the public have stated, due to the proclamation not being on the agenda, members of the public did not have appropriate time or notice to discuss the comment on the agenda item. Thank you.
Josh Senior Court, Lambertville. I think Charlie, Kirk, and myself are still disappointed that the public comment's still not fully restored to what it was before. Back last year when all of you, including myself, either we paid $100 or got 100 verified signatures to run, we signed up for this. So people should be able to say what they want to say, whether they criticize, maybe they want you to do a better job. I mean, I would want the same as well with that. The Charlie Kirk shooting, yeah, that happened. I mean, I understand where he's coming from as far as where it wasn't on the agenda. Well, it's also because when he was assassinated, it was the day after agenda items were due for that meeting. So that's why it had to get added to the agenda at the meeting as well. Glad to have Dawn on board with the park board now. We're ready to move forward and get some projects going this next year, and really looking forward to doing some grants and saving a lot of taxpayer money and hopefully not doing a millage. Thank you.
Good evening. Just wanted to remind everyone that it is Fire Prevention Week. So please, at some point in time, go home, look through your houses, see what you have there. If you have children in the homes, please make sure that they do know how to get out of their houses in case there is a fire. We've been in the schools. We'll be in this week and next week in all the schools in Bedford Township, doing the education and just trying to get that fire prevention put out there. Finally, we do have, this coming Saturday, we do have open house at all stations from 2 to 5 p.m. So we ask if you have nothing going on, please stop by, come meet the firefighters and look at the equipment and stations, and we appreciate everyone's support with that. Thank you.
Chief.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Gail Kane, Downtown Temperance. Without expectation of answers, currently the only main advertising is when a church is cited, the name of the church is given as to who is saying prayer. I wonder if the board would consider staying seated after adjournment for the public to approach them and ask those questions. There's concern that a posting by Bedford Community News and Views, which basically, and I don't do Facebook, I find it disgusting. At any rate, there was concerns with censorship of what this public Facebook was saying in some of the responses, and in part that our township supervisor does monitor that. So there are concerns here. I would like to verify the timeframes for our public comment. Is it 2, 3, 4, when and how, so that we're sure there was talk of I will let it go to 4, but then it didn't happen? And is it mandatory for a township to maintain cemeteries? What is that revolving fund? Where is this money coming from? And please define exactly what it is. The inclusion of apps and packets has not been addressed, and it needs to be. This is something that came as a change with the new board. And the ordinance schedules for these two individuals, if they're going to get an extra person, should be separate. We were promised that hiring that number 2, because of his stats and his status, that there would not need to be ever the two of them riding together in a vehicle. And it is being seen and witnessed on a daily basis. So basically that's the whole scoop. Keep up the good work. The discussion was great tonight. Thank you.
Any further comments? Seeing none, we'll move on. Josh?
I do have a question for Phil. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the meeting. Can't go around asking people, hey, how are you voting, all of that. Am I able to go to an individual board member, hey, what concerns do you have? What are you thinking on this? Where are you coming from?
Yes.
Okay.
You cannot deliberate toward a decision or make a decision or ask them how they're going to vote, but you can certainly discuss with other board members what their concerns are, et cetera, et cetera. The discussion and the deliberation and the voting has to occur here.
Okay. And that was what I was trying to accomplish while coming up with a comment policy. Regarding the community college millage, there's a lot of conversations going on with that. From my perspective, that was voted on in November. The people have already spoken. I'm trying to look ahead at where our township is going and what we need in our township. And I think within the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to be having a decision that we're going to have to make with our fire department and funds that they will need to maintain the level of service that we are at now. I don't think anyone wants to have a decrease in service that when it comes to our fire department, especially when they call 911. I think our fire department does a great job, and so within the next 2 or 3 years, we might have to seriously look at increasing funds to go and maintain the level of service that we have now. So with that being said, I think it's pretty simple. People have already spoken in last November, to shoot down this millage. I think that that's how I'm going to vote, and with the idea of moving forward, our township fire department is going to need funds to maintain the level of service that we have, and I think everybody wants that when it comes to public safety. So that's where I'm coming from on that.
Right. Well done. Yep. All right, I just want to say, because he's been off our radar for a while, when we had all the problems with the mulch king, I went by there the other day. He has it really nice.
It's really nice.
His berms look nice. I mean, he's in compliance now, no problems. Pretty freaking nice when you follow the rules. It looks really good. And also the condos right there on Secor and Dean, those look nice too. He's done a really good job with that, so I like that. And then on a side note, it was on Facebook, so I don't know how true it is. Someone said that those apartments right there have new owners now for where we wanted to put the sidewalk in, and every single person gave us an easement except for the owner of those apartments. That's what stopped us from building the sidewalk all the way to the high school. So if you're able to look into that, that could be potential for us again. Maybe we can look at getting a sidewalk to the schools again. Because
there's money out there, and we had some money set aside.
Well, we had the money, we budgeted the money for it. So possibly that could happen also.
I'll look into it.
And then also for probably with everyone else, same thing. That's a no on the mill of the freaking Monroe County Community College. Vote no on it. They've already come to us before it's been voted down. If anyone needs a sign, I brought some with me. I have them back here if you want a sign for your yard. And if not, I have them at my shop. Make sure to vote no on the MCC millage.
All right. Joe?
Yeah. So I've been talking with Al back and forth about getting some stop signs that are solar paneled, and we got it in the budget to get some for Clover Lane Road off of Smith Road, and then we've talked more about possibly getting another intersection if we have the money, because we budgeted for some, and I know you've reached out to the road commission.
Yeah, we're waiting for that.
We're just waiting for the quote from the road commission just so we can get it moving, because it's something, and it's something that I want to try to do, because I really like the flashing stop sign, especially on like when you're at Jackman and Samaria and Douglas and Samaria and some of the other places where we've had some high traffic crash areas. So maybe each year we can get a couple more, but so we're just waiting for the road commission.
Yep. So as soon as I hear, I'll bring it to the board.
Sounds good. Also, October 1st. Bow season opened up. Good luck to all those hunters out there. All right, get some.
It's too hot right now.
It was. And
you shoot one now. You better get it.
And I'm also no on the millage for the community college, and I've stated my reasons in the past, and I'll take one of those.
You want a sign? Okay, I got one for you.
Yeah, I asked first. To me? Yeah, I'll make a couple recommendations. I would also recommend Bedford residents to vote no on the Monroe County Community College millage, and I would also like to request that the minutes reflect that specific opinion that I'm saying vote no on the Monroe County Community College millage, please. I would also like to recommend to Mr. Gagne's point, don't escrow your property taxes. You should see the breakdown of those bills twice a year. And if you're escrowing, you're not seeing them, don't escrow your property taxes. That's silly. And then lastly, I would like to make a clarification from a previous point that was incorrect. Abortion is the #1 cause for murder of children in this country. That's all I had.
Krista?
I'm going to respond to Mr. Gagne's comment. The community college millage, the reason it only shows the 3 whatever it is because the two items were combined, because I am limited to the amount of spaces that I can print on the tax bill. And with all the different millages and the breakdowns from the schools, from the community college, from the township taxes and special assessments, if I list all of them out, there will not be enough room for everything on there. So that is why it is combined, they're added together. If you'd like to come into the office, I have a breakdown that I can show you, that I have printed out. It's available for anyone to see.
So it sounds like we have too much.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
There is an election, November 4th. Absentee ballots did go out. If you did not receive yours and you think that you are on our permanent ballot list, please give my office a call. If you need an absentee ballot, give us a call. We'll send you out the application and you can get that ballot in the mail. There is no early voting this election. It's a school election. It's not a state or federal. So absentee ballots, if you're not going to be in town or won't be able to make that date on November 4th.
Great. Anything else? I've got a couple things so that I could better understand the chief. I spent 8 hours at a seminar put on by the MTA that talked about fire departments, what is the right size of a fire department, equipment, and so on. So it was pretty informative. I learned a ton of stuff in terms on fire departments that I didn't know about. And I will be going on a ride-along, Chief, because they recommended that. Pickleball courts are coming along, except I was quite disappointed when we had somebody in a black van go ahead and do donuts in the gravel. So if you see a black van, I don't know, going by car park, beware. So you try and do something good, and it seems like somebody's always got to throw a little wrench in there. But we'll get over that. Boo Bash is coming up over at Pearl Albert Green, Saturday, October 25th, 2025. I want to thank this board for the equipment that you granted the maintenance department. It makes everybody's life a little easier. And lastly, in regards to the college, I will be voting no, and I can tell you why. I've sat in so many meetings in regards to the Whitman Center. We've been on blue ribbon committees. They've had community outreach. You name it, they've been given so many ideas. There's 34 acres worth of property there. There isn't much that's going on. I look at the brochure, and I'm very disappointed because it says, oh, we're going to have these flex rooms and so on. And I've been told over 5 years since Spring Arbor has left, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. What I am going to tell the college, and I'm going to be writing to Kojo, is to please give that building to Bedford Township, or give it to the schools. It was built for Bedford. It should be our building. And I think we can figure it out and what we could do. I know Carl Schultz could figure it out in a hurry. So that is my frustration. I've had meetings with Kojo. I've talked to their trustees. And that is one of our best buildings in the community. And it's one of our most underutilized buildings. Yeah. And to give you an idea, all right, this community has 400 and some events at the library every year. 400 people. We could use that building. I'm sure we'd probably have 600 events. So that's my thoughts on the Whitman Center and Monroe County Community College. I will not be supporting that millage. And I agree with Mr. Stump. We've got a fire department. We've got other needs in our own community. So other than that, yes, Todd.
I just need to add something that Craig brought up. Amber, also make sure in the minutes that it is, you can even put it in bold print, Todd Bruning greatly opposes the MCC millage, and you can get signs at his shop against it if you need it. Please and thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Amber.
Anything else, Joe?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Meeting over. I get a little passionate. You know how many meetings?